Welcome to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. Hear and learn through the success of others how to build the life and business you deserve. Learn to overcome failure, what it means to seek out growth, and how to become the best possible version of yourself. And now, here's your host, coach, entrepreneur, husband and father, and author of the #1 best-selling book, Survive Scale Soar, Jeremy Williams.
And welcome back to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today is going to be a real talk. So the show comes in two formats. Real talk is time spent with me and my thoughts and ideas of what's happening in the world or what will make you better in business. Some of the things that I share with my coaching clients. And then I have success talks, and that's where I interview some of the top people in their respected industries. And I have some great ones coming up. I've got Joe Evangelisti. He's a best-selling author of the book Multiplicity, CEO of Legacy Developers. He's a coach. He's a former builder in the U.S. Navy Seabees. This guy has like 3, 7, and 8-figure businesses. It's going to be an amazing conversation coming up here in the next few weeks. I also have Ben Fairfield. I've been able to actually work with this guy. He's an amazing person. Not just a great business owner, but an amazing person, amazing father, and has a great family. He's the vice president of region development at Remax. So there's some great success talks coming up. So if you have an interest on being on the show and you've done something that's impacted people or you have a story to share, I'd love to hear from you and we'll get you scheduled. But today is real talk. And the conversation I want to have with you today is what I like to call the magic sauce. So everybody wants to know, how do you be successful? 80% of my coaching clients are real estate agents or in the real estate industry. About 20% are small business owners, and that segment of my business is growing. And one of the questions is, how do I get better? How do I have that breakthrough? And it comes down to the magic sauce. So in the movie The Matrix, they have the blue pill and the red pill, and depending on which one you take is the experience you have. There's no red pill or blue pill in being successful in building a small business. Yet there is magic sauce. And what makes up the magic sauce? It's a variety of things. I don't want to give you all my secrets, yet I'm going to give you two big components today. One is consistency, and the second one is intentionality. So consistency, I'll give you an example of this. I've been coaching now, booked over 12,000 coaching hours since 2010, working with small business owners, helping them have breakthroughs and go on to achieve their goals and beyond. And we'll talk about a specific, what I call a lead generation lever, something that you can go push on, and the result of it is leads. And being a business owner, no matter what type of business owner you have to have leads. And so we'll talk about a strategy. They'll go out and implement it. We'll follow up the next week, talk about the strategy, what happened. And they didn't get the result that we necessarily talked about or were anticipating. And so they come back and they say, Jeremy, I really appreciate that talk last week. I think we need to move on and try something else. And for instance, it might be like open houses. And I know open houses work because I've coached people that have made over $1 million in commission. Their primary driver for their business was open houses. I know they work. I've been doing this long enough to know they absolutely work. It does matter what you do. It doesn't matter the strategies that you implement. They do work. So I'll ask, how many open houses have you hosted in the last week since we last talked? And I said 1. How many hours did you commit to that? 2, did you do all the strategies leading up to the open house, at the open house, and following the open house? Well, I might have not done everything I needed to in advance of the open house. And I did talk to a few people. There was a couple people that didn't have realtor representation that could be a potential lead, but I just not feeling it. And, I did follow up, but I only followed up one time following the open house. And so number 1 is they didn't follow the strategy to completion. Number 2 is you have to be consistent in the business. You're not going to go up to bat every single time and knock it out of the park. It's time on task over time. So if you want to be successful at open houses, go do a lot of them. First of all, you're going to refine your process. You're going to notice the things that you could do better, and you're going to make improvements along the way so that, the chances of developing and closing upon leads increases. So just by doing them and being consistent, you're going to get more reps. And just like anything, if you're a football player and you're going out onto the field and you want to become the best wide receiver, let's say in the NFL, you're going to want to go out there and take as many reps as possible. You're going to get better each time. You're going to run the routes a little better. You're going to have a better chemistry with the quarterback. So reps matter. Consistency matters. Doing something one time is not being consistent. So the first part of the magic sauce is whatever you're doing, be consistent in what you're doing, and you're going to see the results in time show up. They might not show up today. They might not show up tomorrow. They are going to show up. As you're going along, make small little pivots, make improvements where you can make better decisions, take better action. And over time, that consistency is going to pay off. Now, consistency is the first part, our major ingredient within the magic sauce. The second one is intentionality. So you can be consistent, yet you can be consistent in all the wrong things. And so, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over and netting the same results. Doesn't get any better. Yet that person might have been consistent. So making sure that you're intentional in the actions that you're taking, making sure you're intentional in your thought process. Make sure you're intentional in the way that you deal with the feelings that arise from those thoughts. And of course, being intentional in your action. So what does it take to be intentional in your actions? Is you've got a plan. I'll give you an example. I have clients that go to events all the time. They're national events. And, if they haven't been coaching with me, they don't know the game plan. And they'll go to the event. They'll get some information. They'll have a good time. Sometimes mostly a good time. And then they come back and I ask them, what was their biggest takeaway? And they really don't have one. Being intentional about a trip like that is knowing, who am I going to meet at the event? Why am I meeting them? How can I help them specifically? How can they help me? I'm going to walk into that event being very intentional about the results that I want to get from it. I'm going to be consistent, and then I'm going to do that time and time again when I go to events. I'll give you an example. When I worked for Keller Williams, largest real estate company in the world, I was in leadership, and we'd have conferences twice a year. One, in Austin where corporate headquarters was, and then, we'd have it somewhere else, Orlando. They call it family reunion, and it was like a big family. So everybody comes together. Probably anywhere in the ballpark from 8, 10, 12,000 people that were in the real estate industry, most of them with the company, that would show up to these events that were informative. And I was very intentional as a business owner and a leader at that time to make sure that I was connecting with the right individuals within the company, A, to see how I could help them, and B, knowing that would come back tenfold. And so I was very consistent in that. Every time I went to an event, I did the exact same thing. I executed the game plan. And when I was there, I was very intentional with the game plan that I was executing. And so just to sum it up, the magic sauce, there's other things like discipline, and that could be added to that sauce. And again, we could talk about those ingredients if you choose to hire me as your coach. Yet two major ingredients in the magic sauce is consistency and being intentional in what you do. So if this has hit you today, or that there's somebody else that needs to hear this message, I'm going to ask you, share this message with them, share a link to the podcast, and let them hear this. One of the things that people struggle with most as small business owners is being consistent, being intentional. They'll try something, it doesn't work, they move on to something else, and they do it again and again and again. They gain no ground, or they're not intentional in the actions that they take. So if you know somebody that can use this information to help them, have that breakthrough so they can continue to grow in their success, I'm going to encourage you to share it with them. If I can help you specifically with your business, that's what I do. Is I coach business owners. I coach business owners at a very high level, and I help them have breakthroughs and grow to hit their goals and go beyond that. And it's not only about growing them in business, but it's also growing them in life. So if I can help you with that, I want you to reach out to me and let's have a conversation. I offer a free business strategy call. If you go to my website, www.redhawkcoaching.com, again, redhawkcoaching.com, like the bird, you can sign up for a free business strategy call with me. We'll spend 30 minutes diving into your specific needs. I'll leave you with something that can help you grow in your business. Of course, we'll talk about the opportunity of coaching, and whether you decide to move forward with me or not, you're going to be able to move away and take something that's going to help you either in business or in life. So I look forward to that conversation. So take this information today, go implement that magic sauce, and I know great things are going to happen. Until next time, onward and upward.
Thank you for listening to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. If you heard something that made a difference in your life today, share it with someone that might benefit and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Learn more about the host of this podcast and coaching services offered by Red Hawk Coaching by visiting www.redhawkcoaching.com.